Hey, so welcome to the third and final video of the alignment series. And today we're going to talk about the lower body, the legs, ankles, and feet. Okay, so the legs are attached to your pelvis, which we talked about in that first video. So really find that neutral pelvis before you do any of your leg work. Okay, so when you think about your legs, many times in your Pilates class, your teacher is going to say, get your feet shoulder distant apart or hip bone distant apart. Okay, so what we mean by that is you have your hip bones here, right? The 3 o'clock and the 9 o'clock. And you want, if you go down your leg, you want your knees to be the same distance apart. And then you want your ankles and feet to be the same distance apart. If I were to go up the body, same thing. The shoulders are right over those hip bones, which are right over the knee bones, which are right over the ankle bones. And then you want all 10 toes to face forward, okay? So that's our sort of neutral position, okay? So you want to get your full foot on the floor. And when I mean that, I mean about, the big toe, sort of the cushy part of your big toe, all the way through to the pinky toe. Get that whole cushion down. And then get the center of the heels down as well, okay? So it's making sort of a triangle in your body. Joseph Pilates thought a lot about geometry when he worked body alignment. So here you have parallel lines going down the body. If you were to connect these parallel lines, well then you have a bunch of rectangles in the body, okay? And then when we flex and do things, we're making angles, okay? So right now, think about the triangle in the foot. You want to keep a lift in the arch, all right? And you want to soften the knees so nothing's locked out with your neutral pelvis. Pull the shoulders back and down, neck aligned nice and tall, okay? So when I'm standing in neutral position, you should have equal weight on both feet, all right? And everything should be facing forward. So if I were to lift my heels up, I'd want to lift my heels up staying on the full ball of your foot. You don't want to sickle outward or inward where you put too much weight on one part of the foot than the other. Really try to roll up onto the whole ball of the foot. I'm only lifting my heel about an inch or two. It's not a lot because I want to be able to hang out here and then lower it down. All right, so when I lift up, I got to engage my abdominals so I keep my balance. I got to keep my shoulders down. Everything's stacked as I do that, okay? So the same thing is when I bend, so if I bend at my knees, stick my booty out, I'm keeping my chest out, but I'm just kind of getting a crease here in my hip as I bend my knee, and I'll turn around for you, okay? So if I do that, you want to really make sure that your knees are staying aligned with those toes. You don't want to start to turn in. You don't want to turn out. You really want to try to keep everything in that parallel position. So we talked about those two lines down the body. Keep those two lines even when you bend, okay? You don't want to inner or outer thighs to work too much because then you're sort of misaligning the joint and the bone in the body, okay? Straightening. Let's try to do it with one leg at a time. I do this a lot in bar work where we hinge over the bar and we lift a leg, right? So when you lift a leg, you want to try to keep square as if that leg is down on the ground. So you'll see a lot of work in this position. You could do weights and stuff like that in that one-legged position, and it's really trying to hold your balance, yes, but hold your balance in alignment. So if you bend your knees, take that leg back, think about that leg still down on the ground. Where does your body weight shift? And you want to keep the hip, the knee, and the ankle all aligned. If they don't align, what tends to happen is your pelvis rotates open and then you sit in that hip. Okay, you don't want to sit in the hip. You want to really try to use your whole leg to do that work. Okay, so what it always comes down to is scanning your body to see if the hip, knee, and ankle are aligned. No matter what you're doing, you're always looking for that alignment. Even in a turnout, when you're bending, you got your hips, Your hips are turned towards the knees, so you're in that turnout that are over the ankles, that are over the toes. Everything goes outward. You know when you're not in alignment when you see your knees going in front of your toes, you know? And pretty much you can go back to the pelvis. Realign there, and then work down the body. So let's try this with a little heel lift. It's a little easier to bend the knees with a heel lift. So I'm squeezing my heels together. I'm zipping everything together. I'm now going to bend my knees down and hold it. Squeeze your heels together so you feel your seat, you feel your inner thighs. And your knees make like a 45-degree angle forward, okay? Your pelvis is neutral, your spine is neutral, everything is, so your pelvis should be stacked upright like it always is, okay? If your knees go too far out, right, if I'm in too much of a turnout, see what happens in my spine? Everything loses its alignment. So I want my knees and toes to make a 45-degree angle forward so that when I bend down, my tushy's right over my heels and my pelvis is neutral. And I still have that rectangle. Okay, so that rectangle has not changed. Come up and lower down. All right, if I were to do this with my legs wider, okay, so now I still have my box, I still have a neutral pelvis. I'm gonna bend my knees so they go over my toes. If I bend too much, notice what happens if I bend too much, right? My chest has gone forward, my booty's going behind me, I've lost my alignment. I want to try to bend, keeping my pelvis neutral. All right, so I'm going to bend, and I can go to just about there, right? And my pelvis is still neutral. I'm placing the weight more on the outer edges of my feet, and I'm pressing more with my outer thigh to get my knees over my toes. So everything is engaged and working here, and a lot of times you'll see upper body movement in Pilates worked in this position. But you're not just hang out. Let go of your muscles and hang out. Feel that difference, right? Than when you're working from proper alignment, okay? So place the weight on the outer part of your feet. Keep your neutral pelvis. Stay tall and lengthened. Bend your knees and look at your knees and make sure your knees are lined up with your first and second toes, okay? You don't want them pinched inward. And you've lost the alignment of your foot as well. You've lost the alignment of your hip. All right? Keep everything there. Almost imagine yourself like leaning against the wall. Okay? That's how upright you are. And when you're hanging out here, a lot of muscle use. I feel a lot of leg work being done. I feel a lot of ab work. And then you want to keep your shoulders in place. And if I added my arm work, right, what I talked about in that second video, lifting your elbows, reaching side to side, energy, get energy out of the top of your head. Get energy in your feet, placing your feet firmly in the ground, trying to widen your knees so they stay over your first and second toe. Holy cow, right? Come on up. That's a lot of work. It's a lot of work just to hold a position. So that's what I mean about lower body work. So if you're coming from the right starting point, when you do leg work, it's really difficult to do. So you want to keep the pelvis neutral. That's sort of the most important. And then think about angles in your body, you know? So when I see a lot when I say shoulder distant apart, I see a lot of that, right? It's like, that's so much wider. Are my lines parallel? Well, no, I'm sort of making an X, right? Where if I get my feet right underneath my hips, it's then parallel. You also want to be careful you don't go too far in as well, okay? So, we talked about a turnout with your inner thighs. You can also do that in parallel where you're pulling everything together. So you want to get a neutral pelvis, you want to squeeze everything together, and you want to squeeze it together from the inner thighs so that you don't overwork your seat and your quads. And feel the work that has to be done. And I can do leg work from here, and it's a lot of work to keep that alignment. Pay attention to your pelvis throughout all of your leg work, okay? So that first video that I sent you was so much about the pelvis and the proper alignment. Really keep it neutral. Unless your teacher says to tuck a little bit or whatnot, or, you know, sometimes in class, like I teach a bar class, sometimes we do a little, you know, booty movement, you know, and that's allowing sort of the rotation of the pelvis to happen on the femur and on the spine. But you want to make sure that you're moving with intention and you're not just making the movement haphazard, right? Working everything mindfully, working every movement with intention, initiating those exercises properly. I can't stress that enough, because when you don't start in the correct alignment, how are you ever going to do the exercise properly? There's no way. And when you don't work it properly, well, that's when you're gonna feel pain. Over time, you're gonna get injury. And I want you feeling good. I want you feeling young and youthful. There's no reason why we have to feel worse as we age. Let's get better. Let's feel phenomenal. Let's rock the world, you know? There's no reason why we can't. Let's feel good with our movement. We're not moving enough in our daily lives. We are holding ourselves so static, whether we're sitting at a desk all day, or, you know, now people get those desks where you're standing, but now they're just standing all day and not moving. We need movement in our body. We need to feel good. You know, if you're at a desk, hang out there for 40 minutes, but set a timer and say at 40 minutes, I gotta move around for 10 minutes, then I'll go back to my desk, I'll work for another 40 minutes, get up and move 10 minutes. And when you move, think about proper movement. Think about this video series and where everything's supposed to be in space, how I'm supposed to initiate. You know, really make a conscious effort in your days to have proper movement and to make your body feel fantastic. You're meant to feel fantastic. I'm sick of us feeling like crap, because there's no reason we need to feel that way. We are human beings. We are meant to hunt and gather our food. We don't do that anymore, so let's move in other ways. Let's have fun with our movement. Oh my goodness, like let's not dread workouts. Let's not dread having to go for a walk. Like, let's love it. Let's love it. Let's feel great. Let's do it with power. Let's do it efficiently. Let's change this world. Let's become movement. Let's become free and fluid and stop being so static and sluggish and lethargic and grumpy and irritable. I don't want it anymore. I want us feeling so good. So if you want to continue to feel good, I have lots of fun videos on my website, and each exercise, I try to work one body part through that exercise so you can become more efficient with it, so you can really think about the proper movement of that one body part. Sometimes we don't do that. Sometimes we think because our body is all one, we want to have it work together as well, so I don't always do that. But again, my workouts are practices. They're a practice to help hone in your skills, to get better at your alignment, to get better at proper movement, to use it in your day. It's not just that half hour or 45 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever it is that you're doing, you want to use that to put into your whole day. Use what you learn into your whole day and make movement a part of your day, okay? I'm sorry for the rambling, but it's something I'm super passionate about, and I hope that you are too. I hope that you love this video series. Keep tuning in. Head over to GretchenMcCarthy.com and take care. Have a great day, and I hope to see you soon. Okay, thanks. Bye.